Wow, things suddenly became extremely tense as the blacksmith and the people put on a highly dramatic and thrilling performance. Soon, the sun above was obscured by clouds, and Dracula emerged from the rubble, looking flawless except for some sunburn. Here were the very people he protected, turning around to bite the hand that fed them, and Dracula's anger was about to ignite. "I just wanted to save you all, and here you're giving me a huge surprise." After earning the title the Brave Stabber King, adult Dracula got tired of war and decided to chill with his brother, the prince. After saying goodbye to the future Turkish prince, he returned to Transylvania to live his version of happily ever after. However, life got a bit dull, so Dracula often took his trusty sidekicks on adventures. Today, they hit Dull Tooth Mountain. Standing before the spooky cave, the darkness sent chills down his spine, like catching a glimpse of a ghost. That meant even scarier things lurked inside the cave. Dracula exclaimed, "Hey, how come we not go in for a peek?" Old armor and skulls everywhere reminded Dracula of those who loved to tell tall tales. He curiously stared at the broken figures on the ground, unaware the cave's monsters were already eyeing them. Hearing a noise, Dracula spun around and took off, running. Turns out speed is quite the advantage. Seeing the monster terrified him so much, he backpedaled until he barely made it out. The monster halted, looking puzzled, as if to think, "Where am I? A drama rehearsal?" This was Dracula's first encounter with monster blood. The priest began deciphering tales about vampires. Vampires once walked as humans, but struck deals for dark power, only to pay the price of eternal solitude. As long as someone willingly became a vampire, they could step back into the light. It suddenly dawned on Dracula his escape was a matter of the vampire's fear of sunlight. Just then, the Turkish messenger barged in, claiming he was here under the king's orders to collect tribute. Dracula, feeling helpless, had no alternative but to have the silver coins prepared ahead of time. Upon hearing the new demands, the soldiers below began voicing their opposition. Fueled by rage, Dracula didn't want his people to face the same struggles he once did. Subtitles. After the messenger was taken away, a sense of unease arose. The king knew Dracula wasn't going to stop just yet. Wait. Dracula couldn't just let this slide, he needed to at least give it a shot. He headed to the Turkish camp, hoping to leverage old friendship for a solution. But the Sultan replied, demanding 1,000 boys. He even demanded Dracula's son as collateral. Though reluctant, Dracula had no choice but to comply with the demands. Coincidentally, after the messenger caught sight of Dracula, he couldn't resist mocking him. This left Dracula with a whirlwind of mixed emotions. Such painful jests rattled Dracula's heart as he struggled within. Ultimately, he made the decision, sent his son back to his mother, then turned the tables. He swiftly defeated the opponent and turned to see his wife with tears in her eyes. While he wished to preserve his son and dignity, it effectively declared war on Turkey. Faced with a hopeless battle, Dracula decided to scheme anew. After his family departed, he returned to the cave. It seemed he aimed to harness vampire power and ventured deep into the cave. Coincidentally, the vampire made an appearance, realizing that Dracula had returned, and this ignited the half-horse spirit. "You come here seeking my power?" the vampire asked. Dracula admitted he sought to protect his loved ones, but the vampire cared more for his freedom. The vampire shoved him against the stone wall, drawing blood in a spray. The vampire lusted to drain Dracula's heart and his family's blood. Subtitles. With a burst of excitement, the vampire savored the blood, believing Dracula to be the one who granted him freedom. Then he bit his wrist, the dark blood looking unhealthy, yet it bestowed power. Incredible strength. Wounds healed rapidly, and he could transform into a bat at will. The cost: an insatiable thirst for blood, but the vampire offered Dracula a way out. If he could control himself, he'd regain humanity at sunrise. How tempting. Dracula couldn't turn down such a sweet deal. In a heartbeat, he gulped down the blood. His body began to change. Sharp pain knocked him out, and when he awoke, he found himself soaking wet. The burning sensation on his hand roused him slightly, and he realized vampires fear things like sunlight. He swiftly removed his ring, twisting to glance at his newly healed wounds. The changes were far from over. Dracula's senses seemed sharpened. He could hear the sound of spiders drumming, see animals moving in the distant forest, with a satisfied grin starting to form. If you really enjoyed this kind of thrilling content, be sure not to forget to subscribe to our channel.